welcome to BTEC's HQ and Showroom and Training Centre in Daventry. What I'd like to do is to show you, as Martin mentioned earlier before, a little bit about some of the key products that we do, involving video wall, AV accessory storage, and our new trolley range as well. The company was started in 1972 by the father of the current owner. We were very much in the domestic consumer market, producing brackets, SCART cables and styluses. From that, the company then was bought by our current MD roughly about 15 years ago. And from that, the company then took a slight change in direction in terms of from that basic consumer domestic market, we then gradually progressed into the professional AV market. And I think that will be reflected by some of the products that I'll show you here today. We'll start off with an old favourite of mine, which is the 8310. An extremely robust, formidable product. It's a pop-out video wall mount, and despite all the very straight lines that you see on this, it is actually, believe it or not, capable of producing nice curved video walls if you so desire. So, as I mentioned, it is pop-out, and I will demonstrate that by just going so. In terms of sizing, it will hold up to a 70-inch screen quite comfortably, and a screen weighing up to 70 kilos in weight. So some might say perhaps a little bit over the top for the way the market is going. Screens are now being produced at reduced weights, but nevertheless it will cover that quite comfortably. As I say, it will hold up to 70 kilos in weight. It will comfortably mount screens in both landscape and in portrait if you so desire. So that is the 8310. We then thought, okay, partly driven by legislation in America, that anything protruding from a wall more than 100 millimeters then becomes a hazard to the visually impaired. So we introduced the 8312. And the 8312, which I have just here, is a smaller sister, if you like, to the 8310. The reason why it's smaller is just slightly thinner in terms of from back to mount, only 56 millimeters in depth. So by the time you've loaded the screen on the front here, and if it is in a public area, it's still just under that threshold of 100 millimeters away from the wall. So quite comfortably fitting in with legislation allowing us to sell within the US as well, quite comfortably. Again, points of adjustment are on this, are towards the back and side of the unit and lower down. So that will allow, again, any imperfections in the wall, on the mounting wall, to be sort of ironed out, if you like. So those are the pop-out mounts that we do. And again, this has been probably our best seller for a number of years now, sort of well in excess of 5 years. In actual fact, pre-COVID, every Monday, my first appointment on a Monday would be to go into one of our distributors and to see that mount sort of beautifully in place, dead straight wall. Gives me no end of joy, but there you go. That's what happens to you when you get into brackets. Moving on, we come to a product 8350, the generic term, but as there are variations in this, the code number changes, but don't worry too much about that. But here, we call this very much our fast assembly video wall. So what you see here is lots of metal framework here, so a heavy base, so it's freestanding with adjustable feet. So again, ironing out any imperfections on the surface that you mount it on. And again, just to show just how fast this is, or to illustrate, shall I say, we took this into one of our distributors, and so we created a little bit of a competition and asked them to put this up along with a colleague of mine. We built the base, which is very straightforward. It's just literally a heavy metal panel, which we put into a couple of receptors, and then from there we then build the frame on top of that. So we asked people that had never seen this product before, just showed them very quickly once, to then erect it. And basically, two youngsters who had never seen it before put this together in less than 1.5 minutes. if you're going to physical size of screens, we don't really refer to just as the physical size of screens, because now it's very much about visa pattern. So the mounting holes in the back of the screens and the actual weight of the product that we're mounting. So this will do comfortably sort of fit a 65, 70-inch screen on there, and perhaps even more if need be. We are now in discussions and sort of speaking with, because we're developing these relationships with the manufacturers around the world, so the likes of Samsung, LG, Philips in particular as well, and just seeing what they're producing for the coming year. So again, we're trying to keep abreast of what's going on, and perhaps even a little bit of a step ahead in actual fact. So yeah, absolutely 55s, comfortably 65s, no problem at all. And should that change, we will then make adaptations in order to accommodate those changes. So just moving on, I'll just touch on this very, very briefly as we're here. Our video conferencing solution for twin screen. Here, just as an example, we have twin 42-inch screens, I believe these are. Becoming screen blind now. So twin 42-inch screens with a camera shelf designed for pan tilt zoom camera, and that can be mounted directly onto the frame of the stand. So, and again, there are variations on that model. In actual fact, we will go up to mounting sort of twin 75-inch, because that seems to be now that sweet spot in video conferencing. That 75-inch screen, dual setup with camera mounted either below or above the actual screens again. And again, that's no issue for us. We do have product to cater for that. Just moving on slightly on from our what we call an 8350, our fast frame, we move on to System X. System X is something that is on its own could be just literally a company in itself. Thousands upon thousands of products can be configured from pretty much what 40 components, of which this is one of them. So here we've taken the opportunity to use perspex to represent the screen, so you can see what's going on behind, and we've mounted these perspex in a portrait mode. So using micro adjustable arms on the back here, mounted to an aluminium horizontal rail, which is very much the centerpiece of System X. Everything pretty much revolves around that piece of aluminium extrusion. So here we have a 3x2 video wall mount setup. So again, this can be pretty much anything you want it to be. The posts that you see behind here, this is a 2.4 meter height. We can go to 4.2 meters before you have to actually tether it to a wall. So extremely strong, very stable product. On the feet here, these are 900 in terms of the feet length. There is actually a slightly shorter version of 600 as well, which I'll come on to just shortly. But again, just showing the flexibility of this product. So that's a micro adjustable 3x2 setup using System X, and the screens mounted in portrait. Here we also do for more sort of, not necessarily a permanent installation, but kiosks for wayfinding, point of information, all indoor at the moment. And this will cater for screens ranging from 42-inch going up to, I think it's 65, I believe. Or we can actually go taller with a stretch screen, which I will come on to shortly. If I can just take you around here, we move on to LED. LED for the last few years has probably suffered, if you like, sort of a number of false dawns, and that's largely driven by price. Now that the price is coming down, the actual quality of the LED panels are actually going up. So pricing, to a small degree, is actually becoming more affordable to various organisations. Here we have our standard wall fixings for LED mounts. This And this version that we have is a wall-mounted version. We use product that is very much available off the shelf, again based around System X. If you're able to spot it just here, good old familiar aluminium extrusion, which is very much the heart of System X. Moving on, we can then conjure up a custom mount as well, so a fixed frame video wall mount as you see here. But again, depending on whatever the size is and the finish that you desire, we can then sort of fashion aluminium extrusion to fit that and encase your video wall, again using LED panel. Here we're demonstrating that we can actually mount LED frames both through the actual frame, through the panel itself, so front mounting, or we can actually do it as a rear mount as well. So literally by fashioning these modules here at the back and keyhole fixings, you can literally hang the LED cabinet onto the frame itself that you see. So again, so you're front mounting, rear mounting, fixed or finished install, again by fashioning the aluminium extrusion to encase your LED wall. Just moving on here, we can quite simply walk past this, but it's actually again a demonstration of System X's versatility. Again, this extrusion can be cut in sort of 0.5 meter, 0.7 of a meter, 1.5, 1.75 and 2 meter and 3 meter lengths. So you can literally fashion it to do pretty much anything you want it to do. Here we're just demonstrating or representing a stretch screen here on a flat mount, and that is literally just hung on to the extrusion. I won't do it now because we've got the safety screws on here, just preventing me from removing the panel or the would-be screen. Moving slightly on, and a slight variation here. Again, System X, this representing our front mounting LED, but this time it's bolted to the floor. As I mentioned before, the post, this is actually a 1.8 meter column, so it comes in two sizes, 1.8 and 0.6 of a meter. And again, just like as you would Meccano, you can just put in the extension ports on there and then load onto the top and then build up to a height of 4.2 meters before you need to tether it to anything solid. So extremely strong and stable. As you can see, a small footprint on the mount. So again, it doesn't detract from what you're trying to show on screen. So here that's a 3x3 panel example, and just to show you the example of that tethering mount. So that brace, if I can just reach around here, just shows you how you can actually fix that to the back of the wall, and that is telescopic. So again, there may be something that or services or pipes that you need to overreach, so that mount is actually telescopic, so that can be adjusted to the correct length that you desire, and then bolt it back to a load-bearing wall. On the LED side of things, just the last one here, just showing a freestanding version. So we've moved from the bolted down to the 600 mil in length freestanding feet. And again, we're just representing a rear-mounted cabinet on this example here. And again, we've mounted this to that wall brace, that wall fixing kit, just here. So nice and solid. So yeah, now we're moving sort of further on around. That just showing the versatility here. This is actually back to my old favourite, the 8310, just showing the versatility behind here, that we can actually mount that to poles as well. So your good standard 50 millimeter poles, using a two-piece mount here. So I won't take the cover off. No, that's firmly fixed on. But that's on a two-piece mount, so you can retrofit rather than having to reach over the top of the actual poles and then slide the product down. We can literally present the product to the pole, put the two-piece fixing collar on here, tighten that up, And there you are. Then you can start to build your video wall or totem pole or whatever you desire basically from there. So it's nice and versatile, just by, again, thinking from a point of view of an engineer. What would an engineer do? What would work for an engineer? What would an engineer want to make his job easier and that install quicker? Here we move around again using System X. So we showed some of the components in this area here. I'm showing you a 2x2 version, sort of mock-up. So one, showing you what your screens will look like, but then also as well the perspex allowing you to see what's going on behind here. This is mounted to our micro adjustable pop-out video wall here. So again, what I'll do, providing safety screws haven't been activated on that, now we can pull out, so you can see that the video wall is still functioning. But what we can do in the event of a screen failure for whatever reason, we can literally pull it out. Because it's nice and sturdy, very robust, it doesn't come out and then because of the weight it drops down. It literally comes out, stays out. You can then remove the affected screen, or the defective screen should I say. You can remove that, put the replacement on, plug it in, and then push it back. Now again, the reason why I mentioned underweight, it doesn't drop, is because then the last thing you want to do is change the defective screen, mount that on, push it back, and then catch the screen underneath it, and then cause yourself a further issue. So that's part of the reason why I so love our mounts. So that's our 2x2 setup using System X again. So this can run for as long as you want it to. In actual fact, I think the longest run recorded of this is something like 114 meters, and that, funnily enough, was in an airport, as you'd expect, check-in desks. So that's a 2x2 setup. Just moving around, showing you some of the variations in components that we add on to that core, which is System X. Here we have our 400 Visa flat mount, 400 Visa tilt mount. Then we go on to our micro adjustable mount, and then the micro adjustable with pop-out mount. And again, you can see those features. So it replicates very much. So it replicates very much what we were doing with the 8310 and 8312, but we're just doing it on System X. So then we move across to the really big boys. 800 flat and 1200 flat. So again, where Microsoft was launching its Microsoft Surface, extremely heavy screen, heavy interactive screen. This is the type of thing we could quite easily put that on a System X trolley, which will hold up to 200 kilos in weight. So robust enough for pretty much any screen that's produced out in the market today. So that robustness, reliability shouldn't stifle your creativity. The very smaller brother and sister to the 8310 and 8312 is our 8308 and 8309. So where we've got that mounted up to a 47-inch screen, this will quite comfortably cater for, holding up to, I think it's 40 kilos in weight, roughly. And that one, thereabouts. So you can see there, you can actually then mount your screens in whatever design that you so wish. Very easy to miss, just above my head. Again, System X can be mounted from the ceiling. So we have the variations of freestanding, bolted to the floor, wall mounted, or ceiling mounted. And that ceiling mounted option here, just connected to very standard 50mm pole. And that's, as I say, fixed to the ceiling. And we can then achieve a curved outcome that you see here. These are mounted, or rather the screens here sort of represent a 200 Visa fixing. So this will probably be what, like sort of 32 to 42 inch screen. They can quite easily go up to a little 80-inch screen in actual fact. So we do have a mount which I don't actually have in the showroom today, which is a tilt mount, which wall mounted, hold up to 130 kilos, no issues whatsoever. However, if you mount it on a pole, it will take only 80 kilos. So we have to bear that in mind as well. all that information is available from any one of us at BTEC. From a sales point of view, we are backed up by our technical guys as well, and girls. Very important to mention, actually, young Katie. But then moving on again, just showing you again, going back to System X, show you just the posts. Oops, so 1.8 meter, so in black or in a brushed aluminium finish. We have it erected in a sort of totem setup here, and you can see what's going on at the back here. Just even coverings as well for cable management. So that will quite simply, in fact, just to prove we are using it. There we go. So you've got your cables tucked away in here, and that can actually be peeled off. Like I say, I won't do it because I will annoy somebody. But yeah, that just snaps on to the back of that post. Okay. Around here, perhaps some more conventional mounts that you may see or would expect to see from us. Ceiling mounted affairs. So this is our 8432, which will hold up to an 80-inch screen, 80 kilos in weight quite comfortably, and actually is a very, very reliable product. Really like this product as a tilt mount. Wonderful retail environment. Well, pretty much anywhere that desires a tilt mount, really. So that's the 8432. 8431, slightly smaller, will go up to a 55-inch screen, and again, tilt feature. And then going on to the smaller brother, the 8430, which is a 200 visa pattern fixing, and again, that tilt feature as well built into it. We can actually double up on those screens, so we can do a back-to-back ceiling mounted with either flat mounted or tilt screens as well. So here, that's mounted on a 50mm pole, and then connected to an angled ceiling fixing. So again, so where you've got perhaps a pitched ceiling to fix onto, that will cater for it. So I'll see if I can just demonstrate. There's a slight bit of movement there, but you can see that there is flexibility in there to cater or to take out any angles that you may be faced with, so you then get a dead straight drop on your screen. More conventional flat mounts just here, as you would see as standard. So just back round to our 2017 AV Manufacturer of the Award, Year of the Award there. And again, just showing, actually, just touching on this very lightly. These are some of the brackets where we first started off. Not necessarily the same brackets from 1972, but certainly for the domestic consumer market. And you can see, though it's a small corner, it sort of shows where the company has come from and where we're going. So a lot of products going forward is very much geared towards that Pro AV and the professional markets. So if you'd like to follow me just outside here, I'll show you some of our trolleys that we have just recently designed. So what I'll do, I'll just bring this around here just to show you. This is part of our designer trolley range. Really like this, very sturdy feel to it. In terms of the design, it is actually triangular in its design. So that post there, just demonstrating, wheeling that round to here, like so, you can see what's going on. So single post, this will hold up to 70 kilos in weight quite comfortably. It has 4-inch anti-scuffed braked wheels. So again, that movement, you can see I'm quite easily doing that, moving that screen. I can even push it around the place one-handed, like so. It's also, this is mounted on a flat mount here that we see. This is the 8441 bracket mount, and then we've incorporated a cradle, a custom cradle, to fit any sort of Nook PC that you may want to, you may wish to mount on this unit. So with this immersive mount in this case, we've just added that to the arm of the 8441 mount there. So that's our single screen mount on a single post, and there are variations of that product as well. Another one of them being just over here. So it looks very much the same, as you can see. Different colorway in white. One of three colors the product is produced in as standard. So that being white, black and silver. Or I think it's actually a gunmetal sort of grey, if you wish. On this product, you can see it's not a wonky bracket. It is actually designed to flip, rotate like so. This is something very much driven by the market for us. We were speaking to people at the show and saying, "No, wouldn't it be great if you could just flip the screen?" Okay, fine, we can do that. so we've produced a mount that will not only be convenient to mount on a trolley, but we could also mount that to the wall as well as a fixed installation. So it just gives you that flexibility. Should you need it, we can actually mount it to a trolley and move that around as a shared resource. Taking a step further, we move on to our larger, you can see, dual frame unit. I believe the 8564. Yes, great. Whew, I'm getting there. On this product, designed to take up to 120-inch screen, if you so wish. In weight, it's 130 kilos, so that's more than robust enough to take the largest of interactive screens at the moment as well. And again, mounting it on the trolley, that device then becomes a shared resource that can be moved in and out of rooms, meeting rooms, into other locations. So, just as well, just to show you that mounting a screen onto the arms here, we have a quick release as well, just by the toggles here, which are magnetic. You can see here, by just literally pulling down like so. So if you imagine, I'm doing it with the other side as well in unison, and then we can remove the screen and do whatever we need to do with it and replace it. And there, and the safety lock is applied like so. That's that. So I'll just return that. Good housekeeping. This is a twin mount video conferencing stand. Despite not showing the camera arm, which it'll quite easily cater for, but this will comfortably mount up to two 75-inch screens on it. Not with these particular arms. We can put just larger arms on it because, again, it's centered around our good old friend here, System X. So this horizontal rail can actually be extended if we so wish. Not a problem. We can extend that to cater for your larger screens. And again, off that center rail as well, mounted either beneath the screens or above, we can then mount that camera, pan, tilt, zoom cameras. So, and this is what we call a modal range, but it has now taken on a BTEC part number to it, which I think is something like 8712. But anyway, yeah, the key thing is it's a twin video wall stand. Again, cable management, so cables coming out the top here to go into the back of the screens, and then lower down here as well, they can come out and run your run to power sockets. And then as a variation of this unit here, so that's a stand. It is also available as a trolley as well. We can mount wheels to that. And this takes me nicely on to our storage side of things. So here, this is our BT7884 flip down or fold down tray. So as you can see here, it's mounted, or it's in its open position, if you will. So from pulling this here, spring loaded, you can imagine a screen being on here to conceal the codec and any other room controls that you care to mount onto the tray here. So very tidy solution, just around the side of the screen. Pull the trigger here, so I can, sorry, in actual fact, I'll pull the trigger just here and it will drop down like so. to then allow access to any defective or accessories that you need to change or service. So moving on, so just to show you, just to demonstrate actually that tray and how that works. So just a small catch here. In fact, I'll show it in slightly more detail, and then we can remove here. So you'd have your components linked, tied to this. Take that away, the defective one, bring the new one in, and we can replace it like so. Hold on. Replace it like so. Plug it into the screens. Oh, sorry, I pulled the catch. And away you go, and it's done, and that's the change. So that's the fold down tray, but then I hear you screaming, what about a drop down tray? Well, actually we do have a drop down tray. So what that is, this in actual fact, you are the first people to see this. This was developed in response to that question, basic, what about a drop down? So again, we pull from there to release, pull down, and it's locked into position. So the reason, or the driving reason for this, so where you've got a screen mounted to the wall, opposed to on a post or a stand, the driving reason behind all of this is speed and minimal downtime. So where you've got a scenario, if you will, 10 meeting rooms all booked up, people in them all, one of the rooms has an issue. So rather than saying, sorry, it's all down, that facility's out of use for now, your facilities management, change manager, that can pop along with already a pre-loaded tray. So literally just to give you that minimal downtime. So that pre-loaded tray, you can take out the defective one, put the new one in, plug it into the screens and into power, and then from there, release and up, thus reducing any sort of downtime, any sort of change time. So the focus is really about just changing and getting on with your normal day. Minimal interruptions, as we've experienced here today, can be just literally overcome, and then you carry on with the business of getting on with doing what you need to do. Moving on, another variation to that then being our slide out tray, and that slide out tray works like so. We showed this earlier this year at ISC, and one of the questions that came to us from this was, what about security? To which we responded, and that's simply by adding a couple of holes to allow for whether it be padlock or some sort of security device to be added to allow the unit to be nice, safe and secure. And so here, again, you've got side slide trays, just to allow for that quick change, minimal downtime of swapping out the hardware, and then quickly and easily sliding back. That's a nice smooth transition back to a closed position. Locked, padlocked, safe and secure.